I had JD Vance on Friday, and it was a great interview. And not because I was doing it, but because he was on. And I asked him directly about his relationship with the big media, his relationship with ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, all that. He keeps on showing up. Now, I don't know that I would keep on showing up. If you show me that you don't like me, maybe I don't show up on there. But I got to tell you, when it comes to him, he's got the right temperament. He's got the exact right tone of voice. And he's very direct about what it is that he's trying to convey while he's on there. Now, we know that the complicit media has given a pass to Joe Biden for almost 4 years. They've given a pass to Kamala Harris for almost 4 years, and certainly since she was named the nominee, she was selected. They've given her a pass. What are you going to do next? I'm going to go up these stairs. She sits down with some, guy from ABC in Philadelphia the other day, this Brian Taft guy, and he gives her nothing but softballs, and then she gives us word salads. So much so that video is 4.1 million views now on TikTok because people can't believe the non-answer she's giving. It's at Joe Pags on TikTok, Joepags. It's at Joe Talk Show on Instagram, where we just hit 405,000 followers. Go and check it out over there. It's on both of those sites. Pick the one that you like. Go check that out. It's an interview you probably didn't even know happened. So Friday I had JD Vance on, and I asked him about why he sits down and gives them the time of day.
As you can probably tell, I actually like the hostile media interviews because, yeah, they'll ask them unfair questions, and yes, they don't do the same to the Democrats. But, my attitude is it's such an honor to be able to run for vice president. You ought to get out there and talk to whoever you can talk to, even if it's somebody that's going to ask biased questions, because, yeah, they can ask biased questions, but we still get to give our answers. And that's what I'm going to keep on doing. I think you should do that if you want to be the people's vice president. And I think that's ultimately the way to win the fight is to actually get out there and make the case.
It's JD Vance, of course, the Republican nominee for vice president of the United States. That entire interview can be seen on YouTube. Just go at Joe Talk Show, or it can be seen on Rumble. It's rumble.com/Joe Pags. Go check out the entire interview. So now we've set the stage. JD Vance kind of likes it. Carrie, it was not an answer that I expected from him, to be honest with you. He kind of likes it.
I know. Okay. I wouldn't, but
now I'm gonna show you exactly why JD Vance kind of likes it, because he just doesn't take any crap. He's sitting there with Dana Bash from CNN. Dana Bash, who interviewed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We've all seen it. We've all talked about it. We all saw the softballs. We all found out later that it was edited. It was a lot longer than it was that they ended up airing. And they were just absolute softballs that anybody could have hit out of the park. And she still didn't do that great. That was her first interview, but it was along with Tim Walz. The only interview she's done one-on-one is with this guy in Philadelphia for some reason on the ABC there. But we saw the softballs that Dana Bash has been throwing. And again, anytime she's got an opportunity to talk to Trump or to Vance, she attacks. So, Vance ain't taking it.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said. But I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's frankly disgusting. Let's pick it up. Let's continue.
Than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it.
You asked the question, I'm going to go ahead and answer it. She does not want him to keep on answering because he's telling the truth. See, she's trying to call him out and blame any sort of bomb threats or alleged threats against Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, on J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, something she can't do. So he immediately said, you asked me a question, I'm going to go ahead and answer it. You'll notice she wasn't interrupting Kamala Harris and Tim Walz nonstop. She wasn't getting all upset. She wasn't getting all uppity. She shut her mouth and let them speak and let them look as good as they possibly could. She needs him to somehow take the blame for these alleged threats against Haitian immigrants who are just shipped off to Springfield, Ohio. She needs him to somehow take credit and take blame.
That they were
What we have said is that this town has suffered terribly under the policies of Kamala Harris. Now, you just accused me of inciting violence against the community when all that I've done is surface the complaints of my constituents, people who are suffering because of Kamala Harris's policies. Are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence? We can condemn the violence on the one hand, but also talk about the terrible consequences of Kamala Harris's open border on the other hand. Now, let me just fact check a couple of other things that you said, Dana, because it's important.
Let me just fact check a couple of other things you said, Dana. I mean, my God, now I get it, why he's happy with these.
You said that all of these migrants are in the country legally. They are in the country through what's called temporary protective status.
Right.
That is when Kamala Harris waved a magic amnesty wand, taking people and giving them legal status. That is not to say that they're here legally. That is a terrible indictment of her amnesty policies that have further opened the border and further caused terrible migration into this country.
I mean, that's an ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? That's just an old-fashioned ass whooping. Because she had an agenda. Her agenda going in today was to prove to the 17 viewers of her show that JD Vance and Donald Trump are the reason why these poor, legally here Haitian migrants are being treated badly or people giving them dirty looks in Springfield, Ohio. When the fact is the services are overwhelmed. When the fact is you've got the non-emergency call that says that guy saw 4 Haitians with geese that they grabbed from the park and they were eating them. I mean, again, you've got a situation where she thought she was going to have the upper hand. And here's the difference between somebody like that interviewing somebody like me interviewing somebody. I'm honored to have people on my show. I'm glad that they are willing to come on my show. I have the biggest names, and I have names you've never heard of on my show. I treat them all with respect. I never have them on the show to make them look stupid or belittle them. I've had out-and-out debates where we were yelling at each other on my show, but I was still honored that they took the time. I'm actually very honored by people who disagree with me because they actually dare to try to take me on. I kind of like that. But he knew going in what she was trying to do, and it wasn't just her. It was also on ABC. It was also on NBC. And JD Vance ain't going to have it. He's not going to take it. And he shows you right there what he's all about. It doesn't stop there. It continues here.
These calls from the constituents.
Dana, and they're telling me this stuff is happening. Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions.
Damn. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's true. When she sat there with Kamala Harris or with Tim Walz, she goes through 3 or 4 potential answers, and the person that she's questioning now has the opportunity to select the answer. I mean, he's dead right. Do you want to debate me? This is what I was hoping Trump would have said in the debate, but I think that he was telling himself he can't come off as a mean guy. But he should have looked at both David Muir and Lindsey Davis and said, are you debating me too? Is this 3 against 1? This is masterful.
I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, then why am I even doing this? So please ask a question, and I'd ask you to be polite enough to let me answer it.
Yes, I am, and I think that...
Yes, I am, and I think, and this is the way you do it. You go after, somebody goes after you, you go after them. And it frustrates the reporters because they need him to take the blame and need Trump to take the blame about over what's going on with Haitians in Springfield.
Well, Margaret, first of all, we condemn all violence and condemn all threats of violence. I want whoever made these threats to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But we don't believe, Margaret, in a heckler's veto in this country. You can condemn violence on the one hand while also saying that there have been terrible problems caused by Kamala Harris's open border in Springfield. Now, you said that these are false rumors. Well, I've heard about a dozen things from my constituents in Springfield, Ohio. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable. A couple of them we have direct firsthand accounts of, for example, migrants abducting geese at the local park and slaughtering them and eating them. Now, maybe all of these constituents are lying to me, but I would appreciate if the American media showed up and did some real investigation.
I mean, what's wrong with that? Margaret, Dana, Kristen, go your ass to Springfield. Go find out what's going on. Go interview. Why aren't they doing that? One would assume they would go to Springfield. Go there. Ask questions of them. Find out the story. Find out whether it's true or not. And then report on it. And if it is true, report it. If it's not true, call them out. They don't go because they're afraid of what they're going to find.
Rather than amplifying the worst people in the world, why is somebody calling it a bomb threat, Margaret? It's because they want attention. I think that we should ignore these ridiculous psychopaths who are threatening violence on a small Ohio town and focus on the fact that we have a vice president who's not doing her job in protecting that small Ohio town.
I mean, he's right. What did he say that is incorrect? What did he say that's incorrect? See, two things can be true. You can have city managers, city leaders, mayors, county commissioners, whatever, alleging there's no credible information that this is happening because they're ignoring it, or they don't want their city to look bad or their county to look bad. But JD Vance says, I've got 10 verified accounts from my constituents in Ohio that this is going on. 10. We've verified them. Now, if I'm a news organization like ABC, NBC, CBS, where he shows up over the weekend, and I'm being told by the sitting U.S. Senator from Ohio that there are 10 verified cases. We have followed up and verified them. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go and do a report on it. I'm going to talk to the residents. I'm going to go to the local park where the geese used to be and find out why they're not there anymore. It's all very strange. And then for some reason, this Margaret person, I think, decides to go after JD Vance on tariffs. I don't think she understands what a tariff is. I found this to be interesting.
Just to follow up on that, you said penalize companies who ship jobs overseas. So your tariff policy would only apply to those companies who are shipping jobs overseas?
Well, almost by definition, Margaret, when you...
I love how he starts this. Almost by definition, Margaret, she doesn't know what a tariff is. That's what a tariff is. You send your company overseas and then try to sell stuff back to the United States, we're going to put an extra fee on it to stop you from leaving.
Apply a tariff, what you're really doing is applying a penalty to somebody who manufactures or makes something overseas. You're basically charging them a penalty to bring it back into our country. And so what we're trying to do here with these tariffs is actually induce more people to make more things in the United States of America. One of the great tragedies of not just Kamala Harris's leadership, but 40 years of American failure is that we've lost our critical manufacturing industry to Mexico, to China. We started to undo that for 4 years under Donald Trump's leadership, but we've got to do it for much longer and in a much more intense way because as we've learned just in the last few days, the world has gotten more dangerous. We can't rely on other people to make the stuff we need.
It's cheaper to manufacture overseas, which is why so many companies do it. But that's another issue. Just to follow up on the promise you're making to working class voters, you are now saying no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on income from Social Security. All of that would wipe out a big chunk of the tax base. Do you really think that fiscally conservative Republicans in Congress are going to vote for this?
Well, I think obviously Republicans believe American workers should keep more of their own money.
I mean, what is she doing? She doesn't know what a tariff is. You charge tariffs to disincentivize companies from leaving the United States and to incentivize them staying here and making their stuff here. That incentivizes them to hire American workers. And when it comes to the whole tax base thing, fiscal conservative Republicans want lower taxes. So yes, of course they'd be on board. He does a masterful job, and I'm proud of JD Vance for doing that.